Now, here's the thing. If you don't agree with that, meaning you now can see the swastika, maybe you didn't see it when you posted it, but you see it now and it's been brought to your attention. Why not just delete it? It's a tweet after all. It's not a monument. It's not made of stone and steel. It's a tweet. Why not just delete it?
Now, where did this picture even come from? That's the question. Like, where did the picture come from? Why is the girls posing this way? Like, we could kind of get into the background of, like, manipulation happens when you focus on the effects instead of getting to the root. If those chicks didn't intend to actually pose like that, and it just so happened to be that that was their posture in that picture, then it's like all of this just goes out the window.
Well, let me ask you this.
Then it's just the human's mind of what we perceive to be a swastika or not a swastika.
Well, I'll challenge you on that one. And sure. This is quintessentially colored people thinking. It's the thinking of things being harmless when things are quite the opposite of harmless. Things are innocuous when really they're insidious. So blacks, colored people, people of color, whatever they want to call themselves, they often think this way. And I want to remove Asians from that group. We're talking about Latinos and blacks in particular. They think this way a lot, which is, oh, maybe it was nothing. Oh, it's okay, mijo. No, mijo, is not okay. Actually, you should be very concerned about this, mijo. Like, this is why if you want to see a Native American, you got to go to a reservation. This is why. When they showed up, you were thinking like, oh, new friends. Yeah, like give them food, give them blankets. Whereas if you look at the diary of Christopher Columbus, he notes that these people were very egalitarian. They're extremely friendly, and they treat you as though they've known you forever. They hold all property in common, and they will never leave you without. These are a kind people. And then he says, they will be easy to conquer. So you cannot compete with the devil when you are projecting your nature onto him. And these people are devils. This guy's a devil. What is the likelihood that this is a photograph that was not edited or altered? Number one, I believe it's AI.
That too. Yeah.
It's AI generated.
Yeah. My question that I'm posing is, let's get to the source of it. Like, what's the cause of this? Is just this by mistake, or was it edited AI? Was these women actually posing this way? Because if it was edited by AI, then that's an agenda behind it. Then it is a swastika. It was intended. The intent is important. It was intended for it to be a swastika, which then gives it meaning. If the intent isn't there and it's not intended for a swastika, then, well, we are creating our own meaning, right?
Well, I'm asking, what do you think? Do you think it was intended, or do you think it just happens to be in the perfect shape of a large swastika?
You know, that's a good question. I would have to say, yeah, we just reacting to it. I would say, I don't know. I don't know, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, this brother Cooley, and that's the thing. That's why the colored peoples, or let me just say the blacks and Latinos.
The blacks.
No, and the Latinos. I mean,
Latinos too, yeah.
Yeah, that's why they got wiped out at that level. They got wiped out at it. Is the naivete, is the kindness, is the sweetness, is the goodness, it's that lightheartedness, it's the dancing spirit, it's the lack of snow, the lack of ice age in your region. You know, when you survive an ice age like the Europeans, like that's going to make you a good planner. It's because you got to plan for when, you know, the ice is not there and you can do certain things. And when the ice is there and you can't get certain plants and vegetables, or you can't hunt certain game, you have to plan. You got to be rational. You have to deal with scarcity. You got to take, you got to protect. When you grow up in an ice age, you survive ice ages, you grow up in places where there's real blanketed snow winters, the nature is different. And that's what we have to deal with, is the nature is different. Just like the nature of a bulldog, a pit bull, a poodle, a fill in the blank are all different. They can intermix, they can breed with one another, but we know that the poodle is a higher IQ dog. We know that certain dogs are very loyal, like the German Shepherd. We know certain dogs are great guard dogs, like the Doberman. We know that certain dogs are kind of sus. They might flip out and kill you, like the pit bull, the bully breeds, the boxer. And human beings probably have certain nature too. That doesn't mean that it's true across the board, but there's a propensity, there's a preponderance within a certain racial category. And I would dare say, and I'm not attempting to edge on racism, I'm just kind of pointing out something that history documents, is that the blacks tend to be, and this is actually documented in terms of, like, for example, in The Economist years ago, and you can't even find the reference now, they had wrote about certain racial categories have higher or lower levels of neurotransmitters that provide for happiness. They noted that Asians have less, meaning theoretically they experience less happiness because the presence of certain, like, dopamine, things like this is less in their chemistry. But for example, the blacks, very up-tempo, happy, rhythmic, dancing, smiling people, more language inclined, less math inclined, a little more careless, a little more open and friendly. Not to say there aren't math brains and science brains and rational people and ruthless people within this collective, but as a mass, they tend to exemplify these characteristics more. And you can find different traits that are common to a people. And I think some of the traits that I just described are really provide for the downfall of certain peoples when they come into contact with other peoples that are more ruthless and greedy. Like, for example, China has an exploding population. India has an exploding population. How many countries has India colonized to get Lebensraum, or the German living space? None. How many countries has China taken over to take over living space? None. So we know that the nature of the European is different, generally speaking. That doesn't mean that they're bad or wicked people, all of them, right? That just means that it's something that one time might be a fluke, but when you notice, like, okay, we have Latin America speaks Spanish because of the Europeans in Spain. Namibia and Namibia and Africa was colonized by the Germans. Brazil was colonized by the Portuguese, and the Caribbean parts of it colonized by the Dutch. We can see the Europeans went, and many of them went outside and took over through violence. So it would indicate that this is a part of the nature because of the consistency. Thoughts?
Yeah, I know. I totally get exactly what you're saying when you're speaking about the nature and the consistency of someone's nature. The point that I'm making is just, without assuming, take away all assumptions, and you just we see a picture of these women. They're posing in a swastika. It's very simple. And one of my main mantras is, like, it's easy to manipulate yourself and someone else if you don't have the actual cause of what it is. And, when that happens, we could be talking about a multitude of things, but really that's why the answer to your question is, I don't know, because I truly don't know if these women was posing like this for a purpose of it being a swastika, or was it AI generated? And all of these things, if it was created, the picture, whether they posed for it or whether it was AI generated, the intent behind it, that gives it meaning. You know what I'm saying? That intent gives it that meaning. If it's not intended for that, it's just basic psychology. If it's not intended for that, then we as human beings, we give it our own intent. We give it meaning. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, for example, if someone let's just use the N-word for an example. Most black people aren't too favorable with white people using the N-word. But there's some white people around black people where those black people will accept that white person using the N-word because they know that this white person doesn't have any bad intent. So they know the white person's intent, and when they use the N-word and may say it in a rap song, that black person will accept it. But then there's another black person where if the white person said that N-word around, that black person doesn't know your intent, know your intentions of using that word, so I'm gonna knock you out. You disrespecting me. So that's all I'm saying. But I definitely get what you're saying when you're speaking about the nature. Totally agree. You broke that down perfectly.